In previous lesson, we have already looked at how the ovarian cycle is regulated by several hormones, namely GnRH, FSH, LH, estrogen, and progesterone. And we also know during ovarian cycle, the estrogen is secreted by the developing follicles before the ovulation, and after the ovulation process, corpus luteum is the one that secretes the estrogen and progesterone. So both of these hormones will affect and regulates the cycle in uterus. So both hormones will cause the uterus to undergo a cyclic changes during uterine cycle. So what the estrogen does is that it heals and repairs the endometrium lining. And estrogen and progesterone will cause the further thickening and vascularization of the endometrium lining in order to prepare for implantation if fertilization occurs. Because we know during ovulation, the secondary oocyte is released. And if there's any fertilization, so the uterus must prepare for the implantation to occur. So it must be thickening. So in uterine cycle, this cycle also takes about 28 days, with the day 1 is considered as the first day of menstruation, meaning the bleeding stage. So it is divided into 3 different phases. The first one is menstrual flow phase, second one is proliferative phase, and the third one is secretory phase. In menstrual flow phase, it takes about day 1 until day 5. So in this phase, the thick layer of endometrium lining shed off from the uterus. So this causes bleeding. That's what we call as menstruation, because this layer is being discarded through vagina. It occurs within few days, in which in our discussion will be on day 1 until day 5. So it's being represented here, in which the thick layer of the endometrium lining is becoming less because of the shedding of endometrium lining. During proliferative phase, so we can see that the endometrium lining will become thickened again. So this is due to the presence of estrogen hormones, which is being secreted by the developing follicles inside the ovary. So the estrogen will causes the endometrium lining to become thickened in order for early preparation before the ovulation happens. And it also becomes vascularized, meaning that the blood vessel is being formed. So this phase is lasting about 1 to 2 weeks. The third phase is the secretory phase. Occurs about 2 weeks' time, from day 14 until day 28. So what happened after day 14 is due to the ovulation process. So we know that in ovary, when the ovulation process has occurs, the remaining follicle is known as corpus luteum. So the corpus luteum will start secreting estrogen and progesterone, in which both of these hormones will cause further thickening of endometrium lining, because they need to prepare if fertilization occurs, since secondary oocyte has already been released at this time. So endometrium lining becomes thickened, and also it causes the arteries to enlarge. So you can see the blood vessel here becoming more prominent and enlarged. So it develop glands that secrete glycoprotein that rich with fluid. The fluid that rich with glycoprotein, and in preparation to supply nutrient if embryo is produced after implantation process is conducted. So it occurs about 2 weeks' time. If fertilization does not occur, so that means when there's no fertilization, we know that the corpus luteum inside the ovary will degenerate, which causes both hormones, estrogen and progesterone, will be decreasing. And therefore, the thick layer of endometrium lining cannot be maintained, which causes them to be sloughed off and sheds off, which causes a new menstrual flow will begin. So here it will restart the menstrual flow phase once again if fertilization does not occur. But during this time, after ovulation process has occurred, if fertilization occurs, so it causes the corpus luteum to be maintained, and it continues to secrete the estrogen and progesterone, which causes the endometrium lining to become thickened and thicker. So pregnant women will not have the menstrual flow phase. So there's no period during that time.